Hello guys, UTech99 here and welcome to the most tumultuous time in Rugby League's calendar. It is of course State of Origin and we are here for the Idiot's Guide for State of Origin Game 1 2023. There's a fair few things to talk about, so without further ado, let's just go through the teams. It's kind of interesting looking into this Queensland team, especially when it came to like the online discourse that happened earlier in the week, purely because that, a bunch of New South Welshmen were calling for certain players to get not picked, like Tedesco and stuff like that. And then a bunch of Queenslanders kept saying, it's like, oh, New South Wales don't get rugby league. And it's like, you can't just swap players like that for Origin just because they haven't played that well. Well, Billy Slater looked at that and went, write that down. Obviously, the two big omissions from the team is Kalyn Ponga and Dane Gagai, two stalwarts for Queensland, and they've been replaced by Reece Walsh and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Obviously, two fantastic picks, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do go. I mean, I do feel like there is going to be a lot of pressure on Reece Walsh and the Hammer to step up in this game before that, but they've got some great players around them. You've got Valentine Holmes and Selwyn Cobbo on the other side of the field. You even got Murray Talagi, which I am interested of how he gets selected. I think he's a good player, but for me personally, I would have rathered someone like Xavier Coates. But obviously, you got the 6 and 7 pairing of Munster and Daly Cherry Evans. I mean, they're going to be in those positions until death or retirement, whichever comes first. Queensland's forward pack, I must say, is actually very interesting, and I'm actually going to like seeing this play out currently as what it's set. You got Tom Flegler and Lindsay Collins up front in the props. I think they're two very unsung hero players, and I think they can do well for Queensland. You got Ben Hunt at hooker, the redemption boy. Please get him away. Actually, I was going to say a lot of people saying get him out of the Dragons, but now the Dragons, beat the Roosters, so who knows now. Fifita and Gilbert in the second row, I like as well. Fifita, I do think for like the last little bit has been a little bit too inconsistent, but I feel like this is where it's like, all right, run into some cockroaches. I'm forgetting they're called like cane toads and cockroaches in this Origin series. And of course, the Wally Lewis medalist from last year, Patrick Carrigan at the 13. I mean, he's a great player, and I think he's going to go very well for Queensland. Then you got the interchange. You got Harry Grant. No shocks there. You got Tina Fasua-Malawi, which I think is interesting because I think you could make a case for him starting alongside Fifita. But interesting to see. Jai Arrow, I think he's a good player for Queensland. Good to see that he's back in the team. And Ruben Cotter as well. Ruben Cotter is another good player that can that fit in well. And that, at this point, is the 17 for Queensland. I think it's all right. Obviously, it's time will tell to see how the swapping out of Ponga and Gagai will potentially affect the team now, because now the Knights kind of have a full-strength team when they play Manly this weekend. So it's sort of, Ponga and Gagai just showcase why they should have been selected. And unfortunately, I do feel that if Queensland were to lose Game 1, they'll become the scapegoats and say, oh no, we need Ponga and Gagai back. Which I hope doesn't really happen, but I feel like that's probably going to be the case. Now, we're going to move on and go into the New South Welshmen's team. I'm going to say for New South Wales, obviously, there were calls to make changes, and it looks like they haven't really made that many of them. When it looks to their backs, they've pretty much got their backs, like the strongest back line you could probably make with New South Wales players. You've got Tedesco at fullback. Again, a player who's going to be in that position till he's dead. You got Brian To'o and Latrell Mitchell, Tom Trbojevic and Addo Carr. It's like, this is what the centres and wingers should have been last year. Obviously, Latrell got injured, but Addo Carr just didn't get selected at all, which made me go into my theory that someone paid Fittler off. And of course, you got Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary as the 5 and 6, which is, it's expected. It's always gonna be the pairing. I know people are saying, oh, Nico Hines should be put in there, but I feel like Cleary can only bring as much into the team as long as Luai is there, and I feel like it's the same vice versa. For the halfback and 5'8" role. But the forward pack is what interests me the most. As on the props, you have got Tevita Pangai Jr. and Payne Haas. Payne Haas I was expected. Tevita Pangai Jr. I did not. And it was very interesting to see that has happened, and I think I know he has praised Queensland in the past because apparently you can't say that a team has been good in the media. Apparently it's like, oh, he's a spy. It's I think people are just obsessed about this way too much. Then you've got obviously Apisai Kurosau at hooker. Damien Cook has not been selected. I do think Apisai Kurosau has had some good form in the last coming weeks, but I feel like Cook being hooker is kind of just one of those positions that just are like safe. I feel like Apisai Kurosau should have been selected, but I don't think he should have been the starting hooker. That's just my take. And then we go into the second row when we've got Tyson Frizell from your Newcastle Knights and Hudson Young, the Maitland boy, the Greta Brankston Jr., the local. Obviously, I'm so excited for him. I think that's what New South Wales has just been missing, just some mongrels from the Hunter just running into people. Oh yes, you've got Latrell, and usually that's kind of been it. You just had Latrell, now you got Hudson Young in there as well. We need more of them. We need more of the Hunter boys. And of course, Isaiah Yeo at lock. That's just not shocking, especially now since Jake Trbojevic, he has he did his calf, so he's going to be out for the series. So Isaiah Yeo's pretty much got the lock position, pun intended, on lock. Now we go obviously into the interchange. You've got Junior Paulo and Cameron Murray. I think they're going to be great players to come on and change away. You've got Liam Martin as well. And of course, number 17, the player that pretty much everybody has wanted in this New South Wales team, Nicho Hynes at the 17, which I'm excited for. A little question actually is about how there's actually 3 forwards and only 1 back on the bench. I don't know if that's going to be a little bit of a problem, but it's whatever. So those are the teams for game 1. Now we go into what I think will happen. Obviously, and I know this usually is the case for a lot of the years, but it's pretty much kind of the case of whoever wins game 1 wins State of Origin, because if Queensland win, game 2's immediately in Suncorp. Queensland can wipe the series just like that. New South Wales win, they've got the decider of Queensland equalising game 2 in Sydney. So it's hard to think of how I want this to go, because there are just so many different elements. But I do feel when it comes, I think the running theme of when it's games outside of Sydney or outside of this, State of Origin jurisdiction, when it comes to out of New South Wales and Queensland, usually New South Wales just run and dominate. And that's how I think New South Wales need to win, because it's either New South Wales come out firing or it's Queensland that scrape themselves to victory, which has been the case for the last couple of years. So I feel for Queensland to win is they need to just have the strongest backline humanly possible, have so many players in the backs for New South Wales on lock, just don't let them score points easily. And for New South Wales to win, they just need to score as many points as humanly possible. I know it's they've got to score points, but they've got to force the game to be over by half time, something along those lines. But in terms of how I think this game will go, I like to think this is going to be close, but I don't really think this is going to be. And I'm going to say, I think New South Wales will take game 1. Though I feel like Queensland definitely do have the way to do it. I just feel like New South Wales have now fully got their full strength back line. They've got some new forwards in there who are raring to go with Tavita Pangai Jr. and Hudson Young. You got Nicho Hynes who can come in. They've done what Queensland did last year. It has all these forwards on the bench to then come in as impacts. Pretty much what Carrigan was last year. So I feel like that's gonna be the thing that's gonna get New South Wales over the line. So that's my guide and prediction for State of Origin Game 1 2023. What do you guys think will happen? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all later.